Welcome to another episode of A Gardener's Journey Homestead. I am Barbara if you're new here. And y'all, today I got some anxiety. I have some anxiety. Let's talk about it. So I'm in Tennessee in Zone 7B, and the temperatures have significantly dropped here. January and February are probably our coldest months. And last week it was nice. The last time I was out in the tunnel was literally 3 days ago. It was 60 degrees outside and 97 in the tunnel that I ended up having to shoot the video outside. But a cold snap hit, and it's going to be cold for the next 4 or 5 days, and the temperatures are in the teens. So let me tell you why I have anxiety. So, excuse me, when I was out here 2 or 3 days ago, it was very hot. Things were uncovered. I knew that it was going to be cold, and the plan was for my husband and I to come out here and cover everything up on yesterday afternoon. The afternoon grew late. We had some stuff going on. And so we literally did not get out here until last night about 8:30. And when I say it was brutally cold, it was brutally cold. It was already about 20 degrees, but with the wind chill factor, it felt like, I think it said 8 or something like that. And the low last night was 11, but felt like 4. Anyway, it was 20 degrees. My wonderful husband braved the cold to come out here and cover my plants. I sat in the car because I'm like, I just can't do it. It's cold, right? And so he came out to the car and he was like, you might want to come look at your plants. He said they're crunchy. And I was like, well, what do you mean they're crunchy? He was like, they real dark green and they look crunchy. And I'm like, I've never seen, what do you mean crunchy? Anyway, I got out of the truck, I came in the tunnel, and he described it perfectly. They were dark green, and they looked crunchy. Like, it was the deepest, like a forest green. And I couldn't, my heart sank. Because, one, I'm like, I can't be too late to cover my stuff. It's only 20 degrees. Why would they do this in 20-degree weather? They've been in the tunnel. The tunnel is covered, is closed. They just did not have covers on them. And everything in here should be able to survive 20-degree weather. So I could not understand why that happened. But my heart sank because I'm like, if I am too late and have not saved these plants, I'm going to literally weep, right? So I got out of the truck, helped my husband to cover. We did the best that we could. As cold as it was dark. We had the lights on in the tunnel, and we were putting on frost covers instead of the covers that I had before. So if you've been following me, I've been using covers from Tarps America, and I have Agribon. I had Agribon, I think 19 on it, which is a lightweight. It's equivalent to an insect cover, but it's not as, you guys have seen the material. It is still very woven like, so it's not like you can see through it, but you can. I'm not explaining it the best way. But anyway, it's Agribon weight 19. I had bought frost covers that was Agribon weight 30. That is more heavier, and it is for extreme temperatures. So last night we had to get them out of the box and put those on. And I was praying last night, I'm like, Lord, if you would just give me grace and mercy. But I still can understand, well, why are they dark green and crunchy? So I started to do some research and look up. And it was basically, they said that when the vegetables encounter the frost or really harsh temperatures, they will turn dark green because the sugars in the plants become more concentrated. And so that makes the sugars turn the leaves really dark green and they get hard. It's almost like a self-preservation mechanism, which is amazing. God has designed some amazing things. So I've come out here today to see if my plants survived. Let's take a look. Okay, y'all, it is amazing how warm it is in the tunnel. It is literally 20 degrees outside right now, and it is 72 degrees in the tunnel. Like, the sun is shining so bright that now I'm even concerned, like, should I be worried? But we're going to check and see. So before I uncover, you can see, y'all, we got frost cover all across the aisle because we were trying to cover everything possible. The frost covers were too long for the raised bed, so we were draping it across 2 or 3 at a time. That bed didn't have anything in it, so that's why that bed is not covered. But I'm gonna have to watch my step. But let's first uncover. Let's start with this one right here. This is where our Brussels sprouts were, and let's see what we're working with. If I could kiss you, I would. Okay. Okay. We to the good. We to the good. Okay. That one has some frost damage right there. A little bit. Okay. Okay, y'all. If the first bed is okay, everything else should be okay. I prayed. I believe the Lord has come through. When I tell you that those Brussels sprouts were dark green, like it was not even that color. It was dark green and it was crunchy. Y'all, it is so warm in here. I'm going to have to open the thing, which is amazing, to get just a little bit of air in here because it is so warm in here. And the breeze actually feels good even though it's 20 degrees outside. But in here, it is warm and I layered up. Y'all, okay, so let's uncover the rest and let me talk to you about what happened in terms of them being dark green and crunchy. Okay, guys, so I went around real quickly, and instead of me just taking all of the covers off, I really just started spot checking, and everything looks to be A-okay. Thank you, Lord. I am so grateful for his mercy and for his provision. So everything looks okay. So, of course, they will be covered back up again tonight. I think tonight is going to be 8 or something like that, something crazy. And it's going to be that way for the next 4 nights. And so I didn't want to take all the covers off because it's a chore to put them all back on. But I kind of just spot checked, and everything that I spot checked is good. Like it's no longer crunchy. It's no longer dark green. And so they should be okay. Now, going forward with the temperatures as low as they are, I'm not worried now that they have the frost covers on them. It has been this low before, this many days in a row, and by the grace of God and these frost covers, my plants survive. So I'm not nervous anymore. When it comes to plants, plants are resilient, but if that's why it's important to plant things in the right season. And in this season where it's being cold, to plant cold, hardy vegetables. And you need to know for each vegetable that you're planting, especially if you are outside planting, you need to know what is the lowest temperature that your things can withstand. So for example, in the back of my house is where we have the garlic planted. I'm not in the least bit concerned about the garlic. I have not even checked on the garlic. Last week it was covered in snow. I didn't lose an ounce of mental thinking or sleep about it because I know that garlic can withstand brutally cold temperatures. It can withstand, because I've been there before, and it does not affect it at all. So that's what I mean about knowing the cold hardiness of your plants. When it comes to things like kale, broccoli, and collards, they are good, I know for a fact, up to 20 degrees, which is why I was surprised that they were green and crunchy when I came out here last night. It was only 20 degrees. I knew that they should be okay, but the fact that they had already kind of turned green and crunchy was a bit surprising to me, and it caused me great anxiety. But now that I have seen this stuff and I know that it's going to be colder tonight and all of this stuff is going to be wrapped up, I'm not going to be nearly concerned at all. Now, can anything happen? Absolutely. But the frost cover that I have on here now, again, the weight is an Agribon 30. It is pretty heavy. Of course, it is still porous. That light and stuff can get through. And so I believe that they will survive. And on some of these beds, I have that Agribon 19, the insect cover version, and I have the frost cover on top of that. We had a really, really bad temperature low, I think 2 years ago, where it was like 2, 3, 4 degrees in a row, like 4 or 5 days in a row. And I did not have these good frost covers like I do now. I had I think it was like some old landscape paper or something, like the real thin porous kind that we laid over the plants. We had two layers, and they survived. So I feel pretty confident that these are going to survive. Let me give you some close-up shots so you can see that everything is looking good. Those are our Brussels sprouts. You can see the Brussels are definitely growing. Here's our red cabbage. It's looking okay. And then we have our bok choy. That's looking good. Let's see if the arugula survived. Okay, all of that's looking good. Okay, the arugula took a hit for sure. Yep, it took a hit. So again, that goes back to my point about every vegetable has its own frost tolerance. So arugula and spinach and lettuce. Spinach can be pretty cold-hearted if it's well established, but I just looked at some of the spinach I have over here. It looks okay, but it doesn't look as good as the other stuff. But I'm not surprised about the arugula, and I'm sure I have, I think, one thing of lettuce over there that may not look okay because of the kind of lettuce it is. So things that are really frilly-like and fragile just normally, they have a hard time withstanding the frost. Also, if you take, there's certain varieties of certain things that may do well and have a higher frost tolerance than that same food or crop, but a different variety. So like, for example, kale, if you get like the dino kale, the lacinato kale, or curly kale, those are way more frost hardy and more sturdy and more tolerable to harsh frost than if you get like the Russian red kale, or something that's a little bit softer or more frilly is the best way I know how to explain it. But the curly kale and things like that withstand much better. So the arugula doesn't look as good. Yeah, if it's not bounced back by this morning, then it's probably not going to bounce back. So that may be a loss. And I have some more lettuce in the house, but I purposely did not put it out here because as a seedling, I know that it's not going to endure these harsh temperatures. So again, knowing your plants, knowing what you have, and knowing what its tolerance are. But I know like collards, broccoli, cabbage, kale, Brussels sprouts, all of those brassicas and things like that, they are very hardy to at least 20 degrees, if not below. But at 20 degrees, my recommendation is always to cover it. And again, remember, I'm in a tunnel, so it's already covered in that aspect, and then this it's not getting the wind, versus if this was outside, it may not fare as well. I think if I were doing this outside, I probably would have covered it with 2 to 3 layers of frost cover just to be on the safe side. I don't think that 1 layer of frost cover would have been enough if it was actually outside in the elements of 11 degrees, because you have the wind chill factor, you have the actual wind that can cause the plant to deteriorate way more quick than just a low temperature. So let's keep going and take a look at some other stuff. Okay, these Brussels sprouts look really good. You can see the Brussels are forming there. So they're getting bigger. Not ready yet, but the leaves look good. Y'all, last night they were the darkest green. I wish I could have gotten a picture of it. Okay, over here, I uncovered a little bit so you can see the collards. They look good. They look great. Okay, the kale looks great. You can see that there. No damage. Look at that beautiful bok choy. Let's see if we can take a look at the cabbages. Okay, the cabbages look good. I got 3 right there. Those look great. Okay, now look at this. This is arugula. Doesn't look bad at all. Looks untouched, unfazed. So let's talk about why this one is okay and the other one isn't. So the reason why that arugula there, if you notice, that arugula is much smaller, less established than that one that was over here. So the reason why I believe that this one survived is because this bed had the actual frost cover, the Agribon weight 30 on it, versus the one that had the bok choy bed. We had ran out of the frost cover, and so we just used the insect cover that was on there, which was the weight of 19. Now the bok choy was still okay, but the arugula was not. So that tells me that the frost cover, the heavier weight, actually does work. And so if you're interested in getting frost covers, I got them from, I think, Tarps America. I'll try to leave the link in the description box. I don't have an affiliation with them. That's just what I use, and I've had great results, as you can see. So y'all, my heart is okay. I really thought I had lost all my stuff. Like, I was bracing, and you know how you kick yourself, you're like, oh my goodness, I should have harvested, when I was out here on Friday, in case the weather. But Y'all know how it is. When you harvest it, you got to have time to do something with it. And I was preparing for the pressure canning workshop that we had this past weekend. And so I really could not bring a lot of stuff in the house and try to process that when I was trying to focus on the class. So I didn't harvest. Anyway, woulda, coulda, shoulda. All that stuff was going through my head, but I did pray and the Lord answered prayer. My stuff is not green or dark green and it's not crunchy anymore. I think we're going to be all right. I think we're going to be all right. Obviously, I'll keep you posted as the week goes on. I looked at the weather and I think tonight it's supposed to be 9 degrees. So I'm about to just go on and take my little happy self on in the house. And oh, I do have a reminder or a note that I wanted to share, that if you are looking for those containers that I keep my seeds in, they're really photo boxes, but that's how I organize my seeds, which you guys will be seeing in upcoming videos. So if you have seen how I organize my seeds in those clear cases with the photo boxes, Michael's is having a sale like they do every January, and those cases are 70% off. I think you can get them for like $12.99 or $13.99. So if you need more seed cases to organize your seeds, go to your local Michael's or go online and order and go ahead and grab them while they're on sale. When they're not on sale, they're like 40, 50 bucks. Nobody want to do that. Get them while they're $12 or $13. Y'all, remember, gardening is a journey. Let's grow together. I'll see you next time, friend.